Welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Music podcast. We're your hosts, T. Davis.
And bri.worek. I'm back.
Yeah, Bree's finally back on an episode.
Well, I said to you earlier today, I was like, I think this is actually just your podcast and I'm a guest on occasion, but you do great interviews. I love listening to the interviews you do with all the musicians.
Yeah. It's good to have Brother Dusty back on last time, and he has had a little semi-viral moment.
I know, but I don't think anything we're going to do from this is going to pop off like the Brother Dusty, but
yeah,
he's got that. We were talking about this. He's got that aura, man. There's some great, I think it is the wizardry. It's like this great quirkiness that he's got going on. Just reels you in sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it was like a 10-second clip that has 110,000 views as of recording of this and like 3,000 shares and reactions.
Yeah, I just love the person that shared that in their story and captioned it, me thinking back on my time in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
Yeah. So basically Dusty's talking about he used to be a psychedelic wizard and now he's the secretary for a psychedelic wizard. And I love the mixed bag of mostly positive things, but of course those randos that are like, what is this even? It's a 10-second clip from an hour and a half podcast.
Can't please everybody.
But getting a lot of traction on the internet.
Yeah, so what have you been up to?
Because we never talk. I have been up to a lot. So I wanted to talk about March onward because so it's about mid-April by the time this podcast comes out. And I think it's been a solid 6 weeks since we've done an episode. I feel like the month of March was a very transformative period. And I know for me, professionally, it felt really significant because I was doing the very last step to be a certified endoscopist as a speech therapist. So basically, a fancy way to say doing swallow studies with a scope in someone's nose and looking at their throat while they swallow. Because you have to be licensed and trained to do that procedure because it is a medical procedure. And that was a very intensive week. And I got a little sicky poo midway through, which I'm convinced was just weakness leaving the body because I knew it would be intense. But from a scheduling point of view, since I usually am at the hospital Friday to Monday, and even though they'd given me the Sunday off because I was doing the training Monday through Friday, but by the time I got to Wednesday, man, I was toasted.
Yeah, those were long days for you.
Oh, yeah, I got home at like 7:30 one night, and it was like eat, go to bed, get up and do it again. But it was all worth it at the end because now I'm a certified licensed endoscopist and can do all of those things. And then the week right after that, we went to Atlanta for my presentations at Emory and Oxford University, which was great. So I was presenting on non-traditional career paths. I don't want to say just happened to. I feel like I just happened to know someone, yes, that works at Emory in the linguistics department. Shout out to Dan Walter. And his running joke the whole time was he and I grew up in Pittsburgh together, went to the same elementary, junior high, high school. All of that is true. And also have the same exact birthday and were born in the same hospital. And of course, as time goes, had lost touch, kind of reunited on Facebook, saw he was a linguistics professor. He saw what I do as a speech path. And I think he told me, anytime you'd want to come to the university, and me being me, I immediately jumped on it. And so we were able to coordinate it and get that together. So Tuesday and Wednesday, back-to-back days, we were one full day at Oxford. We hung out with the Soul Collective, which was really cool. And I don't know if you want to talk about what you got to do with the Soul Collective and what that is.
Yeah, we'll get there, but talk about your presentation because you worked really hard on that for a while.
Yeah, so my presentation was basically just a recapping of what I've done over the last 15 years. And I it's funny because
I want to stop you for a second because you cut off. The title of the presentation was what?
Oh, so non-traditional careers in speech language pathology.
Yeah.
So I did work hard on it. as far as the rehearsing, and it took time to put it together, but out of a lot of things that I've done, it didn't feel that hard to think of the idea and put the content together, because it honestly just felt like a retelling of what I have done and the different types of careers I've tried that were somewhat speech therapy adjacent, in trying to forge my own path as this musician speech therapist hybrid, which eventually, especially in a place like Nashville where we live now, has been extremely valuable to me.
Yeah, so we drove down on Monday, which it's only like a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
Interesting drive through the mountains. It was like snowing, and I was not expecting that when we were on the way down there. But
Yeah.
but it was a good drive down, and got into the hotel. Tuesday we got up and drove down to Dan's place, and then we rode with him to the Oxford campus, which is like 30 minutes away. Well, it's supposed to be about 45.
I was going to say, I think it was in Dan's Tesla, it took about 30.
But Jesus Christ, Dan's got a really heavy foot, man.
Oh my gosh.
I was like trying not to grab the oh shit handles in the back of the car. I was like, Jesus Christ, we're going fast. Anyway,
that Tesla can zoom.
shout out to Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, made it out alive.
When we got down there, he took us around campus, and then you spoke to a class.
We sat in for a little bit on one of their linguistics classes and did a brief summary for everyone, somewhat encouraging them to come to the main presentation in the evening. Introduced myself, met that linguistics professor, and then we toured around the campus for the rest of the afternoon, pretty much until we went to the music class.
Yeah, we stopped in and hung out with Marvin. Well, I probably shouldn't say like just Marvin.
I'm sure we can say and I forget exactly what his doctorate is in.
Ethnomusicology.
Ethnomusicology. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But we hung out with him and sat in on his African American soundscapes class. And it was basically like they were doing a whole class that day on blues music.
That was right up your alley. I feel like you were the star student of the day. And these are students that are not music majors. So it's pretty much an introductory credit class. So
yeah, it was like music appreciation.
Right. So I think there were definitely a few students that were really into it. And it was an interesting vibe because I haven't been into a college class in 15 years. So it was funny seeing all the kids with their laptops open. And, and when I finished grad school in 2011, that was still a pretty novel thing. Like, you didn't really take computers to class even in 2011. And now it's just so commonplace.
Yeah. Yeah, but so that was funny. We had to come up with like a 12-bar blues lyric, which naturally I was okay at.
Yeah,
and I got to help these kids who don't know anything about music do that, so that was fun. But then we went to your presentation, which was in one of the halls on campus, and there was like 70 people there.
Yeah, it was a full turnout. And it's always a mixed bag with things like that. I'm sure some of them it was required to go, but of course there were some standouts that stayed after that were very interested in the subject matter, and I've received a lot of emails since then or outreaches on social media. One of the students that had reached out to me is actually going to be sitting in on one of my online classes next week. So that'll be cool, because I do feel like what I do with music and therapy is different. You don't see it a ton. So I'm excited to just educate in any regard in that case. Because I remember being young and not knowing what I wanted to do. And when you're young and have big ideas, but you don't see a lot of other people doing it, it's easy to feel discouraged when you don't have at least a little bit of a model to follow. But I do feel at this day and age that it's becoming a little bit more commonplace.
Yeah.
that, oh, it's not so crazy, the thought of music and speech therapy and doing some sort of a hybrid. And then in the evening after the presentation, we got to go do one of the, so Marvin's group that he has is the Soul Collective is what it's called. And it's instrumentalists, singers, they have brass, I mean, they percussion, I mean, they've got all of it. It's, you know, like a college version of a little teeny tiny Tower of Power.
Yeah, well, they were playing a Tower of Power song.
They were, yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. When we got there to the rehearsal, we broke out into a group. So Marvin was working with the horn section. I went in with the rhythm section, and you were working with the singers, naturally. It was cool. Like, it's cool because they were a group of basically hobbyists. There might have been a couple of music majors or planning to be music majors in the
I had
group.
a couple of music minors in with the singers.
But they largely were just doing it for fun. And they were learning a Tower of Power song. They were learning Pocket Full of Soul. And that is a hard-ass song, especially for the drummers, man. The poor drummers trying to get David Garibaldi's parts down. They're very syncopated. Because it's like a shuffle groove, and he doesn't play the snare on 2 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. Anyway, that was fun, man. I felt like I could contribute. I showed the guitar players like a couple of different chord inversions that they weren't aware of.
I feel like that's an education setting that you really enjoy, because I don't think teaching is necessarily your main bag or goal in life. But when it's a setting like that with college students, a group setting, I really feel like you did great with them, for sure.
It was fun.
And I know working with the singers, I was in my gold, man. Like, even more so than the presentation that I gave. And we were just purely doing singing technique. There was no therapy of any kind involved, but that's what I love to do so much. And people laugh at me when I say this, but traditional voice therapy, I actually find to be incredibly boring. But when I'm working on functional performance types of things specific to singers, especially, I mean, I could do it all day. And it was a long day. I mean, we didn't get back to the hotel until 10:30.
Yeah.
And we had gotten to Dan's house at 10 in the morning. So it was a long day.
It was fun.
It was. And it felt like that feeling when we did your show at the Paramount a few years ago, that it was an all-day affair, but despite being so exhausted, we were just in our zone the whole time.
Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah.
And we do have footage from it. I've been editing some of that, so we'll post that somewhere. But then the next day, we hung out with Yun.
Yeah, Dr. Kim.
At the Atlanta campus.
Yeah, and Yun, who was incredible. I don't want to guess her age, but I know she has a younger teen child. And so assuming she's a few years older than me, but she has a doctorate degree in linguistics, 2 other master's degrees, and then is getting her master's degree in speech path right now, which was wild to me. And when we were with her touring the main Emory campus, I got to sit in with their speech pathology special interest group that they have.
Which I felt like you did a really good job in that too. Like it helps to have a truly captive audience that they go to that because they are interested.
Right. We know they're interested.
A speech pathologist. And then you could you have such a broad background in applying it. Like, you've worked with peds. You've worked in skilled nursing, worked at a hospital now. You've done your own independent thing. So they looked genuinely interested and appreciative that you took the time to talk to them. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. And truly, those are my favorite interactions. Again, I remember being that age and feeling lost and just wanting someone to give it to me straight. Even when it comes to how much money can I anticipate making? Don't give me a bunch of fluff. Tell me why it's hard. Tell me what can happen. Tell me the worst parts. Tell me the best parts. But be honest with me. And I can't stand canned interactions because people don't want to say the wrong thing, or they don't want to overstep, or they don't. I think everyone wants that sense of genuine honesty, and I love giving it.
Yeah, and I think that's where that kind of thing. I don't know that you would exactly thrive in academia as like an instructor, but as like a guest where
Oh
you can
yeah.
come in and be the person who is not beholden to
Mhm.
bureaucracy. You can just say things that you really want to
Are
say.
you saying I would not get tenure? Oh, they'd be like, you got to go.
Yeah.
Like-
I don't know. I mean, well, I don't know. When you're in the setting that would require you to follow rules, you do. But I feel like it's been nice that you've set yourself up to have some wiggle room and
Mhm.
go do things like that where you can be the person from the outside looking back and telling it kind of like it is. Like they're not going to hear that. You're not going to, you should. And I mean, I know that this was my experience in film studies. Like they weren't telling us that it was going to be easy to make a living, but they weren't exactly saying like, this is going to be really, really difficult.
Everyone, I don't if it's a university or not, everyone is selling something. So I think it's always important to keep that in mind.
Oh, it was so funny, man, walking around with Dan, because Dan was like, have you thought about taking linguistics? To everyone.
He was the best salesman, even for my presentation. Every single person we talked to, hey, we're doing this tonight. Hey, I'm this professor. Hey, I was like, man, can you sell my services
Yeah.
in
And hell,
Tennessee?
technically, he was on sabbatical, so he's working that hard on his time off.
Yes, he was. I was very impressed. I was like, man alive. You're such a quiet kid in high school.
But it was great. So it was cool. Our days were packed Tuesday, Wednesday.
Mhm.
You did the health hop thing, so that was cool. So like after you talked to the special interest group for Speech Path, you went to this. It was a catered dinner thing. It was an event on campus, and it was basically they had representatives from a bunch of different parts of the medical field, and it was like speed dating for medical careers.
Yeah, so all of the students were at a table, and then the professionals were the one that went table to table. I think it was 8 minutes or 9 minutes or
Yeah, it was 8
something like
minutes.
that.
Yeah.
And so every 8 minutes you would switch tables to a different set of people, which was interesting because there were some that were wanting to know more, even if just being polite. But then there were some that were of the mind of, well, I've already decided what I want to do, so I'm not as interested in this. And
How's the chicken?
Right, exactly. It can be a bit of a mixed bag. I feel like any interaction you have, something positive can always come out of it. You just never know. So overall, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
That was a little bit shorter of a day. But then we went back to the hotel and had a stuffed crust pizza, which I'd never eaten before. And that was, I felt like I was at the height of luxury. So I feel like compared to other women, I have very low expectations for gifts or trips. And we're very work focused. So we don't travel a lot, I feel. And some of that is for financial reasons. So we really tried to make going to Atlanta a little bit of a vacation in a way. So we stayed a little bit longer than what the assigned days at the university were. But at the end of the night, Wednesday, we ordered a Domino's stuffed crust pizza, which I'd never had before.
It's so funny to me that was such a big deal. Well, because when we used to order Domino's all the time, we would get the cheesy bread and a pizza. And I was like, why don't we just get a stuffed crust pizza? Because then it's like you have both. You kind of get the sensation of cheesy bread with a stuffed crust pizza. But
yeah, and that was the height of sophistication to me. Just in our Midtown Atlanta hotel room with a great view, just watching The Office and eating a stuffed crust Domino's pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing says luxury like the Hyatt and Domino's. Yeah.
I had a great time.
So the next day we went to the aquarium.
We did.
We took a Waymo for the first time.
Love the Waymo.
Yeah, I was really skeptical. I was like, there's no way I'm going to like this, but I have to at least give it a shot. And I think I was sold within 30 seconds. Because the Waymo, it's got the thing on top of it. It can see, like you're looking at a screen. It sees better than humans. It can see everything around the car for like 20 yards or more.
Yeah.
And it's not distracted. It's not thinking about the next ride that it has to do. It doesn't speed. It doesn't drive aggressively. It was peaceful, very quiet. I don't know. I think AVs are probably going to be the future, man.
Probably
I feel like it's going to be technology that just starts coming built into cars, and it's like you can turn it on or off. But that was cool. Anyway, so we went to the aquarium. I gotta say this, man. I had an okay time at the aquarium, but there's just too many fucking people in Atlanta. Like, there's just too many people. Like, the best thing was the otters. We saw the otters.
We went to see the otters twice.
Yeah, we doubled back on the otters. They were great.
They were adorable. They were the cutest things I've ever seen.
They're like golden retrievers that swim and like do tricks for treats and like kind of, I don't know. It's just the most. I wanted one. I wanted to take. I wish we had an otter.
That otter doing his little oral care routine with one of the worker ladies might have been the most adorable thing I've seen in my entire life.
It was insane. Yeah, so that was cool. Then we went to the world of Coca-Cola, and it was cool. Like, we learned about the history of Coca-Cola or whatever, and then drank an insane amount of Coca-Cola of a variety of flavors from all over the world. And then some kid was like throwing his tester cup away, and it splattered on the back of my shirt, and I was like, we have to get the hell out of here right now.
We had about enough.
We'd had enough people.
Well, and I think all of the sugar didn't help. Yeah.
And then we went and got those burgers at that joint. What was that place called?
I do not remember, but they were very, very delicious.
It was good. I did enjoy that. And it was 21 and up, so there were far fewer, and by that I mean no children there, like there were at the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, a little bit more of an adult crowd. And then, but that was Thursday, and then Friday we left.
Came back, yep.
Yeah, we came back. No snow on the way back, which was good.
Yeah, it was a pretty drive. But yeah, I think it was a good trip. I think it was a really, really great opportunity for you to flex that side of yourself. I feel like some more professional opportunities could potentially come out of that. And it was just nice to kind of get out of town for a bit, kind of get a little bit of a reset.
I guess we were out of town for Christmas, but then before then we had gone to that wedding in April in New Jersey. And other than that, I mean, we've really not gone anywhere, done anything. And maybe this is a good segue for our very attention-minded tasks since then.
So I talked about it on the pod with Brother Dusty, but Nudies took us off our shift for the month of March with 3 days notice. They have like fired, I don't know, a third of the bands because the upper management wanted to try new things. And I'm not trying to like burn bridges, but God damn it, dude. Like it is such a nightmare sometimes working in this industry because we show up, we do a good job. I had this room set up for rehearsals and we were rehearsing once a week. Our set was getting tight. Everything was going great, seemingly, and with no notice. It's like, yeah, we were just not playing here this month. And then they put us back on the closing shift for the last 2 weeks, and I don't know what we're supposed to do for like moving forward. And it made me like reassess, like, do I want to be pursuing this? What did I move out here for? And I should probably say this too, like, since September, I had been waiting to hear back about a potential opportunity, but I signed an NDA. So I
he's
can't
too
really
big time to talk
so I
about it.
can't really say what it was and if you guys want to hear bad enough, then you can cover me getting sued for $500,000, then by all means. But until that happens, I signed an NDA. I could have potentially been gone all summer this year to pursue an opportunity. And it didn't work out. It just like fell through. And it's not that I wasn't trying to progress in the avenue of like, I do want to write songs. I've been doing co-writes. I've been making demos. I've been going to pitch meetings at NSAI and continuing to try. And I've got another single coming out soon. But it was like a distraction for like 7 months. It was like, this could happen. And then it didn't. So now it's when we got back from Atlanta, and on the trip we talked a lot about this, but I'm trying to really get re-energized and refocused about why we're here, which is I obviously as an artist would love to just make a living performing my own music full time. I'd love to get a great band together and tour and do all that stuff. But the other side of what could happen is do a bunch of co-writes, write good songs, go to pitch meetings, be out and about, and eventually try to get a publishing deal where you get paid to write songs. And so, yeah, I think that's the path. And I'm trying to just refocus all of my effort and attention onto that goal, which I feel like I moved out here with, but then like I said, I got distracted.
Yeah. Well, sometimes opportunities come along, and I think it's natural that it seems like it could be the shiny object that you just want to go towards, and sometimes it's really just a shiny object and nothing more, but you never know, right? So when you're trying to make the most of every potential opportunity that comes in front of you, I don't think there's anything to feel bad about. It, it was an unfortunate distraction. It didn't end up going anywhere, but maybe chalk it up to a good experience nonetheless and something to learn from, and then move on. But I think that it has caused both of us to be more focused and have deeper conversations as far as what we want and what our expectations are. And the biggest thing for me has been the circles that we're surrounding ourselves with, because we are one person removed, not even 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, one person removed from some of the biggest names in the industry. And I don't mean that as some sort of a humble brag. It feels like we're getting closer.
Yeah.
and what that closer is exactly, I don't know. Because I do already feel successful with what we have done so far. And I don't, if you're not a baseline happy person, there's no amount of quote unquote success, which is different for everybody, that is going to make up for that. So I do feel like we have baseline happiness covered. If we did nothing else, I'd still be proud of what we've done. But I know that we just have the potential to do more. And I don't think that we've scratched the surface on all of our skills that we could offer.
Yeah. The degree of separation between major players in the industry, that's true for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's, yes, that is true for us, but it's true for like a lot of people who are here doing this, trying to do the same thing. And so I don't want to get impatient or anything.
Mm-hmm.
They call it a 10-year town for a reason. And I want to try to just enjoy the process and try to focus less on the outcomes. Like as
Yeah.
long as we can like eat and keep the lights on and enjoy what we're doing while that happens, then I feel like we're doing way better than a lot of people. So we
Yeah.
have to like appreciate those things, but also doing quote unquote bigger, better things does require more intentional and focused effort. So like I've instituted like a new morning routine that I literally printed out on copy paper and taped next to the bathroom mirror so that I don't forget to do the thing. And I've been doing it for the last week and it's great. I mean, I don't know if I want to bore everybody with the details.
I don't know, but I feel like these are good details. And as we're talking now, I'm looking at the whiteboard that we bought at Target a few weeks ago.
We bought it the day that we got back from Atlanta.
Yeah, literally, because I feel like that gave a different steam. And I feel like every time you leave town, work related or not, it's a bit of a reset point. And we even talked about the beginning of every season because it actually was the week of spring coming back from that trip. So I feel like every season we need to have, whether we want to call it a team meeting or a team getaway for the two of us, and continue to check in with those goals. Because before you know it, a whole year has gone by. Like when we're talking about my website, a whole year has gone by. And now I look at that website and it doesn't feel like it applies. Because the clientele that I thought I was going to have, like back in North Carolina, which was all teen theater clientele, that website basically looks like that's what that's for. And that has not at all been my experience since I've been in Nashville.
Yeah.
So I think there just have to be these periodic check-ins where you look at the routine, what circumstances have changed, and how do you stay organized. But I don't feel like it's boring or redundant to talk about because I could imagine that a lot of creatives like you struggle to do the business side of things. And part of that business side of things is sleeping regularly and having good habits and trying to have a routine in an environment that could otherwise be chaos.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a 9 to 5 job.
I've lived that chaos for a long time, especially when there was still more alcohol involved. So you just play your gig, drink a bunch of beers, come home, get Taco Bell on the way home, veg out, watch a bunch of TV, pass out at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then wake up in a chair hurting, like, oh my God. And then you go to bed for like another 2 hours. And you get up at like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And then wonder why you're not progressing or getting anything done.
Yeah.
And not that I've been doing that here, but again, there is effort. There is an equivalent amount of extra effort, I feel like, that is involved with every extra level up that you make. And so part of my issue is, I don't want to say that I've been just like dicking around and wasting like my time, because I've been playing gigs, I've been doing my co-writes, I've been getting things done, but I have not made the absolute most of my time. And a way I'm trying to get each day started appropriately is by having a routine that I do, and it takes somewhere between like an hour and a half. If I really get involved with some of the things, it could take 2 hours, but get up, bathroom, brush teeth, contact lenses immediately, weigh myself because I have a lifelong relationship with body dysmorphia and food that is like could be a whole fucking episode in and of itself. But weigh myself and do it every day so that when I inevitably have a day where I weigh 3 more pounds than I did the day before, I can mentally check mark that that's obviously just water weight and I didn't somehow eat 10,000 extra calories yesterday. Glass of water, protein shake, coffee, make those things, and then sit down and journal for 10 or 15 minutes.
I totally thought you were going to say something else.
That's what a dirty fucking mind you have, bro. Jesus Christ.
Sorry. We're actively recording, right?
Journal for 10 or 15 minutes. And then I've been making myself read for 10 minutes a little bit in like a personal development or like history, psychology, science, something of just like general, I want to know more about stuff. So I've been reading Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, which is fascinating, actually. It's like the way that our brains trick us into like it's the way that your brain has two systems, one that is very automatic and the one where you're thinking effortfully. And it's all about the dynamic between the two and which system controls what behaviors and how cognition flips back and forth between the two. It's really great. And then my co-writer Tom Leonard's bought me this book by Clay Mills called I think it's called Mastering Melody Writing, something like that. It's been really great. I don't usually go for books like that, but I've gotten a lot out of that so far. He wrote "Don't Think I Don't Think About It," the Darius Rucker tune. He wrote "Beautiful Mess" by Diamond Rio, and he's had a ton of cuts. I mean, those were two number ones, but he's had a ton of cuts. But just trying to focus on reading something related to the industry. And then immediately after that, I have compiled lists of songs that are from a variety of backgrounds. Some of them are from writers who I like or who are associated with publishing companies that I might long-term want to work with. So like Carnival Music, that's the publishing company that Brent Cobb has been with since he's been in town. And there are some monster writers on that roster. So listening to songs based off of that, just trying to make sure that I've heard every number one over the last, 10 or 15 years. And just actively listening for the production, for the composition, the lyrics, the melody, rhythm, all that stuff. Like trying to genuinely sit down and for at least 2 songs a day, like listen, take notes, whatever I observe about the song, and really try to continue learning just more about the craft. And you have to do that,
But I think that's the big difference. And I remember my very first job when I was 15 years old was in our church's rectory from 4 to 8 o'clock. And there was basically nothing to do but to sit and answer phones if they rang. And because I had so much free time, I've always been a big collector of music books. And I would have my music books. And if it was a vocalist I really liked, like a Josh Groban, I would just sit and I would try to, when I didn't quite know phonetics yet, but I would, phonetically write out all of the Italian that he was singing, or how this certain note was shaped in the word, or what dynamic marking is it in this section of the song. And I feel like whatever your craft is, that is what it requires. And I tell especially the young clients, I tell my young clients that it's not just what you're actively doing, it's also what you're receiving, and making that an active process too. Active listening and seeking information is just as important as singing the song or writing the song. You have to consume the songs as well, truly.
Yeah. So I do that for the last, I'd say, like 10 minutes or so. And then I go about just like whatever I have to do for the rest of the day. And part of the journaling is like planning that, is like writing down those things.
Mm-hmm.
I just already feel better. I'm spending way less time mindlessly on social media, like obsessively checking the New York Times.
Yeah. And
there's too much going on.
There's too much information at all times. But again, we just talked about consuming information, but what is the information that you're consuming? Because I've gotten back into the habit, especially when I'm at the hospital Friday to Monday, of deleting social media completely off of my phone. And I do understand that maybe that's not the best strategy in the way when you're trying to be noticed in those spaces. But at the same time, for my own mental health, that needs to be above board beyond, oh, well, I got this reaction and I need to respond to it immediately. It feels like nonsense at times. And I see a direct change in my attention, my overall well-being and thought processes when I do not have it on my phone, because it's just so easy to get into the mindless scroll. I mean, it's just instantly distracting. And I've noticed that when I don't have them, even if I'm on my phone, it's me unsubscribing from emails that I usually just delete. I'm like, yeah, maybe I should actively do something about these things that I actually don't want to get. Yeah. Or this political text. Maybe I should do the stop to end versus just letting it continue to come through because I'm so distracted with other things.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just spent a lot of really like good time in much deeper focus, getting things done, like getting demos cut that like I should have cut weeks ago.
I feel like you have gotten so much done in the last 2 weeks. And
oh yeah, I didn't talk about Tin Pan South like at all yet.
Oh,
and yeah. That was another big thing.
That was another
a big like inspiration. And I love Tin Pan South because like I went to a few rounds last year for the first time. I'd never been to that festival. So Tin Pan South, for people who don't know, is the biggest songwriters only music festival in the country. And it's Monday through Friday, no, Tuesday through Saturday, once a year. It is presented in part by NSAI, like it's kind of NSAI's thing, the Nashville Songwriters Association International, for those of you who don't know what NSAI is. And it's like 400 writers. I mean, it's 2 rounds per venue, and I think there was like 10 or 12 venues. It's 2 rounds per night at each venue. And they'll have, 3 to 4 people, songwriters on each round. And I was just doing like some research like about, okay, what publishing companies might I want to pursue or try to establish relationships with over the long term. And again, Carnival Music was the one because I'm a huge fan of Brent Cobb's writing, and so I made it a point to go see some writers on that roster. So I went to a round on Friday night with Tom Jutz and Adam Wright, and God, it was so good. It was so good. And like I feel like my soul like needed it. Tanner and I played a gig at the Hard Rock that night, and it was like a 4 to 8 shift, and they were trying something new with their happy hour on the second floor. And so like I had booked that through a booking service, and like I thought it was going to be on the first floor still, even though they changed the time slot, and it was really on the second floor. So I got there early and set up all of our stuff on the first floor. And then like 30 minutes later, the guy was like, y'all are supposed to be on the second floor. and like the sound guy was like upstairs waiting on us.
Oh.
And we got up there, and
Nice.
now the sound guy, when I say sound guy, I mean he's a really nice kid and he does a good job, but he's like 21. And I'm like, bro, you didn't come like check maybe to see if we were downstairs. Anyway, it's fine. He ended up doing a fine job, but they hadn't run a monitor to us. And I had to be like, I had to go a little bit out of my mode of like, oh, it's all good, man. Like, we'll figure it out, to like, I need a monitor run to us or we can't finish this gig. Because we couldn't hear ourselves. Like I couldn't play in time with myself because I was hearing it. I was hearing the sound echo off the back wall. I didn't have a direct enough source that I could play in time with myself.
It's funny how important sound is when you're trying to play music.
Anyway, I just wasn't having a great night that night in particular. And for some reason got Exit Inn, which is a venue here in town, in my mind, and it was at the Station Inn. So I drove to the Exit Inn and parked and paid to park, walked up and realized I was at the wrong fucking venue. So I got back in the car and I drove to the Station Inn, and I walk in, and Tom Jutz and Adam Wright are in the middle of trading guitar solos on one of their songs, and they're monster players on the acoustic. Like, it was just, and so perfectly phrased, just tasteful playing. And then the harmonies were all great because it was Tom Jutz, Adam Wright, Dean Fields, and Lacey Green on that round. And it was just all so good, man. Like, they write together and their harmonies were great. I love those rounds where it's obviously people who work together all the time.
Yeah.
And they sing well together and they know each other's stuff. But it was great. The music is just those kind of songs that are just like good for your soul, and like the stories, like, and I rarely like drink anymore, but I had like a few beers that night because it had just been one of those days. And I told you, I texted you when I was like, I had a few beers. I went to this round. It was amazing. I just felt like my soul needed a Miller Lite and some good music. And the Station, that was my first show that I'd seen at the Station Inn. And that's a like crazy storied venue. And it's just, the vibes are just good in there, man. And the sound tech, Eddie, was phenomenal. And like, naturally, it being a storied venue that attracts a lot of people, the sound tech ought to be good. But sometimes that's not always the case. And he did a great job. I hate going to a round where you can't hear the lyrics because someone's fucking around with like reverb or delay. And it's like, this is not the point. This is not time for the sound guy to show off the, engineering chops. It's like, get the fuck out of the way and let the song shine. And Eddie at Station Inn, every round that I saw that he mixed was impeccable.
Good job,
great.
Eddie.
And so that was a standout round. We went to the NSAI members awards ceremony, which was cool. They've had some members who won the Milestone Award, which is like people who kind of do bigger things in the industry.
Yeah.
Met this guy, Gabe Walsh. He had this track, man, called Good Years. And it was like about growing up like in a NASCAR house. And my dad watched the race every Sunday since I can remember. And so it was like, I was like, God damn it, dude, I've never heard a NASCAR song that really made me like choke up.
It was good.
Great song. Really nice guy. That was cool. That was a cool event. There were some good performances at that.
I feel like all of the events that you went to for Tin Pan were what your soul needed, and I feel like it reminded you of the things you need to focus on and what you're doing here. And I feel like ever since that, you've been much more intentional and focused, and I can feel it like in your spirit. Like, something about you just seems lighter. You seem to have more of a path. And I don't think people understand that it's not enough to say that, oh, I'm a musician or, oh, I'm a singer-songwriter. There still has to be some clear direction within that and your intentions. And this is also the first time that I feel that you've clearly stated what your intentions are, not even just, well, I want to get paid to travel and play my own music. You've been way more specific than that. Like you're naming labels, you're naming artists that you want to work with or co-write with. And it's just been far more directive. And I feel like you have to be to know where you want to go. It's not good enough to just have this big open-ended goal.
I mean, I try to be extremely self-aware. Sometimes to a fault. Sometimes I like box myself in because of that. I am not the best singer. I am not the best guitar player, that's for damn sure. I don't even put that in my fucking business card anymore. Not after moving here, man. Like, there's too many people who do that way better for me to come up with.
Yeah.
I'm not the best songwriter, but I'm always like trying to get better. And if I'm not getting better on my own, I'm like seeking out what room can I get in to where like I feel nervous to where I'm like, I hope I can contribute to this. That's what I'm trying to do. Because it's not, you can't, I said all that stuff about what I'm not the best at because I feel like the people who kind of blow up on social media are either one, really hot superficially, two, have some kind of insane natural like vocal ability, or, and I'm not saying that those people don't work hard. Please don't misconstrue that. I'm just saying I don't think that I have an overwhelming presence in any one particular skill. I feel like I have dabbled in just God knows way too much shit since I was like 18. But I'm hoping that I can take all of that experience and craft it into I am responsible, I show up on time. When I do show up, I'm contributing something, even if it's not the thing that moves whatever the project is forward. And I'm not going to rely on potentially blowing up on social media because I don't feel like I don't know. That could be wrong. I could have a good co-write where you have an amazing song and the song itself is what takes off. But it's not going to be that I did some crazy vocal run and Adam Levine heard it and was like, let's fucking sign that guy or whatever.
Right. I need him now.
That's not, I don't think that would be the thing. And for a long time, especially when we were in North Carolina, because we weren't around a lot of industry connected professionals.
And not knocking it, they're just not there.
Right. I was kind of just like hoping that something on social media would pop.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, I'd run into somebody at a gig or whatever. But I feel like I'm rambling. I want to tie back into what we were talking about. There is a path that comes through curating collaborations to not just benefit yourself, but being around people that you genuinely share some sense of artistic direction or some sense of the craft of songwriting. Because there's different modes to me of songwriting. Now, when you go into an environment with other people, obviously you should sit down and just try to write the best song that you can. But there are different versions of best, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that one is, the way that I'm going to phrase this is going to sound like I'm saying one is better than the other. But music is for different people. That's why we don't all listen to the same song. So I'm going to say it like this. There is this like craft mindset for writing, like, I want to write a top 40 banger. that is different than I want to write a song that might win Best Americana Song and make people cry. Right? Sometimes they overlap, but largely those are two different kinds of things.
I've never cried to a Max Martin song.
Right.
I've had a lot of fun with Max Martin
Right.
songs, but
Yeah.
I've never felt in my guts that, you know, one of the Britney Spears songs that I love is that gets
Right.
me right in the guts.
So the way that I have always kind of like talked about that is one is like a Michelin star chef preparing a 5-course meal that requires a sophisticated palate and the patience to sit through and give your full undivided attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a like a Jason Isbell record.
I was just gonna say, I knew you were gonna say Jason Isbell.
Or a Bob Dylan record.
Mhm.
Like no one is partying to With God on Our Side. Well, I don't know. Might be fun to party with some people who would listen to that at the party. You know what I'm saying? That's not playing in hair salons typically. You know what I mean?
Dude, I was driving home from the gym yesterday.
Can I finish my thought real quick?
And Lady Gaga Paparazzi came on.
Okay.
And, and I was just having the best time partying by myself. And there's space for that too.
The point I was going to make is that on the opposite end of that spectrum is top 40 banger, the shit that teenagers roll their windows down to on the way to spring break and blast at the top of the car's stereo volume. That is the craft involved in that is I've used a few different examples, but like the people at Nestle trying to get just the right amount of snap in the crunch bar and balance the sugar content to the fat content to where it's so hyper palatable that you can't help but eat the entire bag of Halloween candy. Right? It's the guy trying to get the right level of gooiness in the next Taco Bell creation. The right balance between savory and, crunch in the Crunchwrap Supreme that like you want to get 6 of them instead of 2.
And I know you love Jason Isbell and love to get into your feelings and listen to a glass of wine.
But I also love fucking Taco Bell.
And you also love The Windows Down to Party in the USA by Miley
Hell
Cyrus.
Yeah.
I've seen both.
So I appreciate both, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
I really do. So
both have their space.
So being able to recognize the context in which you're writing with other people, like what are we doing today? And being able to kind of switch between those modes. Like I enjoy studying like what made that song hooky, what made that work in that way. And then on the other side, it's like, why can I not listen to this song without getting in my feels? And sometimes they overlap. Like one of the songs I was listening to today was Humble and Kind, which Lori McKenna wrote and which she played at the round that I saw of hers at Tin Pan. That song is 4 minutes and 20 seconds long. It does have a chorus, but it's not like a banger, let's, go to Lake Havasu and party. It's like, it was cut by Tim McGraw, and it had a really big like video because he used these he used footage from a docuseries that Oprah did. All the right things came together for that song to be number one, is what I'm getting at. But it had the appeal of mass audience, but doesn't have the stereotypical, mid to up tempo. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is a party song. So I like trying to figure out all that stuff. And then I would just want to get in rooms with people who are also trying to do that thing, man.
Yeah. Totally.
But Tin Pan South was sick. Went to another round at the Cowan, which is a venue that is attached to Topgolf, which was interesting. But it was Shane Stevens, who was a co-writer of Fancy Like. And he did that song.
How was that?
It was an acoustic version of Fancy Like. I will say this, Shane is a hoot. It was his.
I feel like you'd have to be to write Fancy Like Applebee's.
It was his round. Now he's also written songs for like Sarah Evans, like, you know.
Suds in the bucket and
I don't think he wrote that.
Didn't do Suds in the Bucket? Okay.
She did. She came out at the end of that round and did, I don't know, 3 of her number ones, and that was one of them.
I would have been pretty geeked if I saw Sarah Evans, not gonna lie. When she first came out, she had a couple songs that I really liked. And for me, who's not really a country music buff, but oddly I know the lyrics to a lot of country songs. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I have a weird ability. Yeah.
But yeah, so she was on that round. Sarah Buxton was on that round, and she's awesome. Like,
what has she written?
She wrote "Stupid Boy," Keith Urban tune.
I don't think I know that one.
She's had other cuts. It's so funny to me, like being at Tin Pan, you see so much stuff that things start to run together, and I don't want to say some shit out of my ass that I like don't know, but I know that she wrote that one. But she played some stuff that she's had cut that like weren't, you know, number ones or whatever, but like she just has a very warm like presence. She has a very soft speaking voice, beautiful singing voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of her songs, she was like, I don't know how to play this on the guitar. She sang it a cappella. And it was like, it was great. And everybody was just like, Jesus Christ.
I think that's the thing that always stuns me whenever I'm around someone that seems like, oh, they've worked with this person and that person, and they've written this and they've written that. And then they go to perform, and not saying like, oh, and they're god awful. I don't mean that. But it doesn't seem what you think it would. If anything, it seems somewhat ordinary. And if anything, like that inspires me. That you have people that are doing the most with what their natural skill is. And you don't have to be this perfect TikTok, Instagram, social media wonder. Like it seems like you have to be, to your other point, where it's like, oh, they have 1 million followers and blah, blah, blah. And you go to some of these Instagram accounts of these major songwriters and they have 3,000 followers.
It's that.
they have such a limited presence, or people don't even realize at all seeing them in an airport or seeing them getting coffee. And they're just regular everyday people that have had cuts of these huge songs that everyone knows the song that someone else sang. But that just blows me away.
Yeah. But the whole Tin Pan experience was really inspiring. So I went to 2 rounds on Saturday night. Again, both of those were at Station Inn. The first round, it was Kylie Fry, Stephanie Lamring, Jada Dreyer, and Marla Cannon Goodman. So Marla is Buddy Cannon's daughter, who is just like, the CV would be like 30 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
But that round was really interesting because so Stephanie Lamring is like, her songs hit like Jason Isbell. The like tear your soul to pieces, like capturing melancholy so perfectly. Like she has this song, Little White Lie, that it's like every verse, it's like, this can't get like there can't be another line that cuts to your soul more than that one. And then it does. Like it happened like 4 times. I was like, I audibly went, you ever hear like a really sad lyric and you go like, oh, like no, but like just like it takes your like lines that hit and take your breath away. Like it was that. And then you have like and like Marla wrote 10 rounds of Jose Cuervo. So you had that on the same round. So that was just an interest. It was like such an interesting dynamic. And like Kylie just had a baby, like, I don't know, I think her kid's like a few months old. And like has all these songs about becoming a mother when she's wanted to be an artist, out on tour, and was just very real in her stories about the songs. And like, I basically wrote a whole record about unexpectedly becoming a mom when I was in the middle of like my career.
Wow.
And it was the stories were great behind all the songs. And the other heavy thing is that Ronnie Bowman passed away in a motorcycle accident a couple weeks ago. And he was a prolific writer and multiple IBMA award winner for like, I think he won for like his, not only his songs, but his like performances. Like he won for his compositions and for his performances. But he wrote Nobody to Blame But Me. That was on the Traveler record. He wrote that with Chris Stapleton. I mean, he's had a bunch of hits, but like that one really stands out as something that I was loved of his. But he passed away, and like a lot of those people had written with him. And that was one thing that Marla, she did one of their songs, and I don't know, there was just like a heavier vibe because of that. But it also, I feel like, brought there was a lot of camaraderie amongst the people like on the stage talking about him and stuff. Like Lacey Green, the younger woman who was on the round with Tom Jutz and Adam Wright, and Dean Fields, like they were both from Mount Airy, North Carolina, her and Ronnie. And when she was like, I don't know, 16, I think she reached out to him, and he was like, come to Nashville and we'll write. And it was just because they were from the same like hometown. And like not a lot of writers who have the level of success that he had attained at that point do that kind of thing. And he did that kind of thing with a lot of people. He's just very well loved in the community, and it's tragic. But there were a lot of really poignant moments that came out of their shared love of him and his work during Tin Pan South. All of it was just so inspiring to me. It made me go, oh yeah, like again, this is why I came out here. This is what I'm chasing. Because a lot of those people are artists themselves. Like they released the songs that they cut. Just, other artists who are on major labels also cut them and put them out.
Would you say though that where a lot of people maybe struggle is you have to earn a living somehow? So unfortunately, while you're always working, I would imagine for anyone in your position, it's hard when you need to songwrite, you need to record demos, you need to do all of those things, but you're not necessarily paid for those things. So I could see how it's easy to get distracted or wrapped up in a gig that doesn't pay well, but at least it pays something, because you still have to do those things as well.
Yeah. That's the rub. I think the thing about being out here, though, is I have found gigs that paid comparably to what I was making back home. You just have to go find them.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. If there's any young people listening who are interested in doing what you do, I don't think that people understand how much time you spend emailing, calling, researching different places to reach out to, and how much investigative work that you do. I don't think I've ever seen a gig just fall in your lap. Like there's no I think for most things, there's no social media fairy for 99% of all of us that is just, hey, wouldn't you want to do this? That's not how that goes. And I think that's somewhat what people expect and their hope of where they do put a lot of time into social media or they put time into this or that. But that's not necessarily the thing that actually gets you good paid work or opportunities.
As a musician, having decent performance videos or just a presence on like Instagram in this town
You need it.
matters.
You do need it, yes.
But the gigs that I've gotten that consistently pay well and have led to other better opportunities are from, well, they're from two things. They're from cold emailing and calling, which is a lost art. Being able to talk to somebody with eye contact. I'm not gonna go on a Gen Alpha rant right now, but that's a thing. I took not so many like some not so great gigs when we first got here.
You took $50 gigs just to have something.
I took $50 gigs for 3 hours, no breaks, playing to basically nobody. But at that same venue, at a writer's round, which again, writer's rounds are unpaid, I met Lauren Freebird. And like, I don't know if she asked me to host her round.
I feel like you did a couple subs for Lauren.
I did a couple of subs for Lauren, hosting her round. She put me in touch with Grace. And then Grace had me host a round for her. I got there fucking early. I wrote down the artists' names on a note in my phone. I talked to all the artists. I asked them how to pronounce their names. I reminded them to be in tune before they walked on stage. And the events went better than they otherwise would have if I had not done those things.
And
that is, and it blows my fucking mind, man, because it's so not hard to do.
And I don't remember if Grace said this or if it was someone else, but I remember you telling me someone that you were subbing for was like, oh my God, thank you so much. You're like, for basic things, for what seem to be common sense things to do.
Yeah.
To be on time and to meet people and know their names. But it's a lost art. Dude, it's a lost art. And I'm not a performing artist, but even with what I do, when I wanted to start teaching voice, I called the place I wanted to potentially connect with when we were living in North Carolina. And it was the first job that I ever got teaching voice. And that is how most things have happened. You know, I did happen to have a bit of a history with Dan at Emory, but that speech happened because I continued to remind Dan and follow up, hey, I definitely want to do this. Let's get a plan. I would love to do this. And with Rock Doc 61 Live, who works with major touring acts coming through Nashville, I knew a therapist working with them. I didn't wait for them to discover me. I messaged their Instagram. They said, hey, this would be awesome. Can you send us an email? Okay. And I emailed them, met with both of those opportunities are not just coming.
Yeah.
There has to be active pursuit. And I feel like a lot of people are lacking the active pursuit part.
Well, for you, I feel like the most substantial clients that you have acquired have not come from random social media interactions.
Oh no. And if anything, those people are typically a pain in my ass.
Yeah. But so like for me, so when you were talking about earlier about deleting social media off your phone, I feel like you could possibly just have like the Meta for Business app on your phone and get by.
Yeah.
But every person that I meet in the songwriting or artist world is like, what's your Instagram? Immediately.
Oh, absolutely.
So like that's the balance thing is like it's not that there isn't a place in the professional workflow for Instagram, but unless you are a monster player or singer, and even if you are, if you can't do the things that people perceive as extra, but that are really just baseline being decent, if you can't do that shit, it doesn't fucking matter. It just doesn't matter. And if you do get by just on like raw talent for a while, eventually you're gonna be the pain in the ass to the wrong person, and it will bite you. So like, yeah, man, getting paid work here that is consistent and good. It's not impossible. People act like it's like just impossible. But I don't know. I will say this. If I just played guitar, I don't know that I would move here.
But here's the thing, and this is where I don't think that you give yourself enough credit. And I said this to you the other day. Even if you just did keyboard or you just did guitar or if you just did one instrument and didn't sing, I feel like you being as smart as you are would realize, oh, well, if I can sing and do an instrument, I would be able to get better gigs by myself. I feel like you would still figure that out outside of just being tone deaf and you couldn't do it. I feel like you would figure out a way, or you would have optimized something else like your film or your production or I don't believe that you're just lucky enough, because that's an easy thing to say. But I also feel like
but luck involves preparation.
Okay.
Luck
Speak
is
to that a little bit.
Like the luck, the stuff outside of my control, the pure luck is I was born into a musical family. And it was drilled into me to pay attention to certain things from the time I was a kid. That's lucky.
Could have been born into a family of doctors, and that would have been nice too.
Yeah. But as far as developing a career in music, that's a way that I was lucky. But you can't just have that. I mean, there are amazing players all over the world who like don't cultivate that talent into something else. And luck is your raw talent plus hard work and preparation meeting those opportunities. Like people, it's a cliche. People's like, luck is preparation and opportunity, like meets opportunity. It's like, yeah, but also it's not luck that I have a good paying gig at like the Sheridan, because I
pursued the shit out of that.
I called an email for 6 weeks before I got to talk to somebody. So
yeah, dude. I feel, and it's so hard. Obviously people do have different advantages and disadvantages that you can't discount, but there does have to be a point where you take ownership over doing things differently. Even when it comes down to habits, we can say that, oh, well, you're lucky because of blah, 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 and da, da, da. But you also make a commitment to getting up at 5 or 6 in the morning, having that scheduled routine, not drinking alcohol, taking care of your health, getting adequate sleep. You make all of those choices. You're not sitting smoking a bowl every day. Like that, those are also intentional choices. There has to be a day where you just decide to do things differently. And I feel like for anything that we've done, we get to that day and we say, okay, is this the day? Because as you mentioned when we started, I believe every level requires a different level of something from you. And that's really hard when it feels like, oh, I've already done all of these things. I already do this. I already don't drink. I already do this. How much more extreme am I going to get? And it's only extreme depending upon who you're comparing yourself to. So for the next level you want to get to, it's probably not extreme enough. But
Yeah.
where do you want to hang out? Where do you want to stay? Like if I'm really pursuing the top tier celebrity clientele that I could be faced with, I need to bring it. I need to be together. I need to read the books. I need to be healthy. I have to have it together. I'm not going to get clients like that if I'm not.
Yeah. But again, these are things that we talk about like all the time and actively encourage each other to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like today, like because today is like one of your days off from the hospital, like I was up before you for the first time in like a long time.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often. I woke up and you were just gone. There were just 2 cats next to me and I was
Yeah.
feeling around. I was confused. Thought it was noon. I was like, what's happening? It was like 6:45.
Yeah.
But those things are important.
But yeah, I mean, that's what we've got going on, you know, just trying to keep leveling up
Mm-hmm.
as frustrating and difficult as that is. But like I've had some really good stuff, like good conversations over the last couple days and got some good co-writes coming up that I'm excited about. Excited to be back at the Music Row Freak Show. I think I'm going to be there on the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a fun round to play.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, just I'm trying not to get bogged down in like what we haven't accomplished yet because it really is, this stuff is fun. Like that's why I'm like that new morning routine because it's like, yeah, it's something that I like have to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I really enjoy it. I have to kind of like make myself stop with the like active listening part of it. I have to like, okay, well, I need to go like work on my own stuff now. But like it's so much fun like picking apart
Mm-hmm.
other songwriters' work and figuring that out.
Well, and it's valuable, right? It
Yeah.
is valuable to do those things. And I think it's those, you get freedom within the structure. And that's why I have to go to the gym as soon as I get up. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. But every time I do, it makes the rest of the day flow so much more easily. Every single time. And I'm always in a better mood. I've got the endorphins going. It's always better.
Yeah. Well, it's like 6 o'clock and I have to cook food for the week.
Yes, you do. Because that's another one of
Because
Tyler's
there's always
chores.
something to do.
But that's like your main chore. The kitchen is Tyler's domain. I do the other cleaning tasks, the laundry, but you pretty much do every dishwasher task and cook our food. So,
Yep. So I'm going to go do that.
those sandwich I had to make during Tin Pan South were a real torture for me.
Yeah. It was funny. I was that week, you know, all these rounds are at like 6 and 9 p.m.
And I go to bed at 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally.
So she had to fend for herself and damn near burned a hole in our pan with a grilled cheese.
I forgot about the grilled cheese. Sorry.
Yeah.
I love sandwiches.
This has been the good, the bad, and the music. And we are your hosts, T. Davis.
Bri.worek.
We will see y'all next time.